Hey, welcome to Instant Reaction. It's the Blue Jay Banter post-game show here on YouTube. Thanks for finding us. If you want to join the party, please send us an email, bjbinstantreaction@gmail.com. We'll get you on the show. Please do so. Also, please hit the subscribe button. I want to thank all our sponsors, Equitable Bank, West Pacific Dental Group, and Infusion Brewery. Please join the show, bjbinstantreaction@gmail.com. Jays go down 69-60. I wish all of you watching this would be members of BlueJayBanner.com so you could see the banter that goes on in our message boards during the games. It is the definition of fan, which is fanatic, which are people that just anytime the Jays lose, everybody is terrible. Some people don't want Arthur Kluma on the floor. Arthur Kluma was a stud today. Sure. Did he make some mistakes? Yeah, he did. There was 2 or 3 times he didn't finish underneath where I thought he should have. But hey, let's be real here. Most people were having trouble finishing today. Or do we go 1 for 17 or 2 for 17, 2 for 18 in the last 10 minutes of the game from the field? Not from 3, but from the field. I thought, the fact that we knew UConn was one of the top teams in the country defending the 3. I thought that was a good plan that we didn't jack up 33s today. We tried to get the ball inside. We tried to run some stuff. I guess, first of all, Jay fans, this is going to hurt for me saying this, and it kind of hurts me too, but my goodness, if you don't think Sanogo is the best player in the Big East and clearly the best center in the Big East, I don't know what you're watching. He dominated Kalkbrenner today. He ate him alive underneath there. Some of that not Kalk's fault. Sometimes we were not getting enough pressure on the guards who were able to make easy passes into Sanogo down low. Other times, I thought maybe we need to brush a double once in a while at him. I mean, even they brush doubles at Kalk once in a while. I thought we needed to do that on different occasions. Let me set up the show. We're going to have Coach's Corner, video assistant coach and video maestro. Casey Matthews is going to join us here in a little bit. The team's flying right out, so I don't know what the timetable will be like for him to join on or when he can join on, but we'll certainly be looking out for him to join on here in a little bit. Ross is not here today. Jerry Lampy, one of our subs, is going to jump in and help us out here in a little bit. But again, we'd really like to get more participation from the fans. I know we get a lot of people watching this. Make sure to send an email to bjbinstantreaction@gmail.com. Jump on in, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on the game. I'm proud of the team, the run they made coming out of halftime. I thought maybe they had a run in them coming out of halftime, and they did. Took the lead. A lot of good ball movement. UConn does what I've seen them do a few times this year, and that's really start falling in love with the 3. And we were making the right guys shoot the 3. I know people want Kalkbrenner to go out and guard Sanogo on the 3 line. He's not going to hit a huge percentage of those. Sure, he's much better this year than he was last year. I have no doubt about it. Same way with Jackson. You got to let him shoot that 3. He's not a very good 3-point shooter. You got to give up something against UConn. They have too many athletes, too much size. But, man, Hawkins is a terrific player, and I just thought we didn't do a very good job, especially in the first half, of being alert when he was coming off that ball screen. I mean, he flies off that ball screen and hits that shot. You've got to be ready for that. But, man, the keys to the game, number one, rebounding. We did a terrific job on the boards. We really, really, really did a great job on the backboards today. And, credit to Arthur Kaluma. Just an unbelievable effort today by Arthur Kaluma. It's been the one thing we've kind of been all over him about. But today he was terrific. And like I said, a couple inside shots. Maybe I thought he should have knocked down, but for the most part, he was pretty good. Jerry has joined us. Hey, Jerry, how you doing, man?
Hey guys.
What's your thoughts on the game?
I guess I would have been wrong. I thought the two keys were rebounding and keeping UConn under 40% from the 3-point land. And, we did that. We didn't hit our shots. And obviously Santiago, had a big game down low. We couldn't stop him. So, I thought we were really good on the boards. Arthur, just it was a beast down low. But we just didn't hit enough shots to win the game. We got to hit some open looks. Trey and Ryan had poor shooting games, and that hurt. So,
yeah, no doubt about it. Let's get to Mike real quick. Hey, Mike.
Hey, what's up, guys? Sorry it took me a hot minute here.
No worries. What did you think of the game?
Not great. The more that we play, the more I'm convinced. This is not a good shooting team. This is a streaky shooting team. And when we're on, we're on. And when we're off, we're off. And, consistency to me is the difference between, being, obviously being streaky and being good or great. And we haven't shown that consistency this season.
I would, and I hear this a lot. This isn't, I would say this, like, let's go back. Like, what teams in recent memory were really good shooting teams that you would say were good Creighton shooting teams?
Oh gosh, I'd have to look at the numbers, but
No, I know. I'm not looking at numbers, just off the top of your head. It would probably be one of those Mitch Ballack teams, right?
Yeah, the Mitch and Z teams, which some of those guys would have off nights, but like
right,
the whole
and not
the whole
some
team.
Like there's many nights I remember we went 3 for 18, 4 for 22. There were quite a few nights that we did that, and they just didn't shoot the ball. I agree with you. This isn't as good a shooting team as that shooting team.
Right.
But I still think this is a good shooting team. I think tonight I didn't really look at percentages as much as UConn's defense just really bothered us, which that bothered me more than the shooting. Like, we should have been ready for that. Like, the players.
No, I agree with that.
They
did a great job of guarding the line.
And they're like number 2 in the country, I think, at 3-point percentage. So we knew that was going to happen. So I was glad to see us go inside. I was glad to see us exploit the one-on-one matchup Kalkbrenner had with the freshman. He dominated that kid. So that
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Since you're our resident bracketologist, so how much weight is the committee going to give to those, to Kalk being not 100% in those 3 games he played where we got run, and being out those 3 games? Because if they don't, we're about 4 losses away from being kind of an NIT lock, and it's not hard to find 4 losses on this schedule.
Yeah, no, you're closer to right than wrong. Let's put it that way. I don't know about 4 losses. This team could get in with 19 and 12, because of their strength of schedule. When it comes down to the tax, and you've got 6 teams vying for the last, say, 3 spots, and Creighton's one of them. And yeah, they might not have as good a record as those other 6, but when you look at who they played, how close the games were, you look at the computer numbers, they might get the nod over those teams. So at any rate, but you're absolutely correct that, God, I think Lenardi had him like 8th. An 8th seed? Are you kidding me?
No, it was a 9. And actually, if you want to see something hilarious, I don't know if you're a Reddit guy, or Zach, maybe you are. So there's a college basketball Reddit, and it's actually very good. Like they'll post post game, and then everybody chimes in for pretty much every college basketball. And one guy this week, he posts a simulation right after Lenardi throws up his bracket. and guess who the national champion was?
No.
Yes. I mean,
Yeah.
take it for, I mean, that's taking Lenardi's bracket for what it's worth. That's taking the simulation and that sort of thing for what it's worth. But I was kind of laughing at it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think I was kind of surprised it's the number. Like Trey had 3 air balls today. Some of the shots that we threw up we really rushed them, right? Like Sonogo's not going to block us.
Not a lot of great shots. Like some of those losses where we missed, Texas. Yeah, I thought we had a lot of good open looks. You're right. Like definitely not good ball movement. Definitely not the open looks that we've had in some of these losses. And credit UConn for that. I mean, tip your hat. This was going to be a tough game no matter what. But just like after that run, 9 minutes without making a shot. It feels like this team just forgets how to compete for stretches.
Yeah, and I think also too, I thought the announcers said it too. Although I'll get into Donnie Marshall later.
Oh my God.
Cook didn't look himself today again to me.
No, he wasn't good.
He looked a little bit like he didn't have the energy again. And like he was a little bit slow. Like the last couple of games, I thought his movements were good and so forth. Now, again, going against the best player in the conference, that can do it to you. But
and people thinking that, mono's over, Kalk had a good game. That's not how it works. He was off for a week, before a couple of these games and able to rest and whatnot at home. And now all of a sudden traveling, whatever, maybe he's a little worn down again.
Am I just an old guy? But is there anything wrong with saying he had mono? I don't understand this non-COVID. I mean, what if he had a tonsillitis or a sinus infection?
Welcome to the world of HIPAA and kind of guarding player injuries.
Okay, HIPAA.
I guess
a guy
I don't
twists
know.
his ankle. They say he twists his ankle. If a guy has an appendix out, they say he has his appendix out. I mean, what's the difference? I don't get.
That's the only thing I can figure out. And it was weird because you're right. Nobody said anything. And then Miller admitted to it at halftime of the last game. And then Mac actually mentioned it in the post game. I'm like, well, what changed? Why all of a sudden are we saying this? And the only thing I can figure is like, maybe there's going to be a kind of a PR effort by Creighton based on the nature of mono and what people know of mono to again point out that we were less than 100% in these losses when he was sick.
Yeah. Well, I'm frankly, when they keep saying non-COVID injury, I was doing some reading yesterday with the spiking on some of the states in the East Coast. I'm surprised teams, like we haven't seen some COVID cancellations and so forth, but at any rate. Hey, Mike, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Love the show.
Go out and get all your errands done.
Oh my God.
Thanks, Mike.
Yep.
You can join just like Mike did. BJB instant reaction at gmail.com. Up next, we got Easton. Hey, Easton, welcome to the show.
Hey, so after the game, my big takeaway is I believe this team is just the ultimate example of being up and down. Like when everybody's on, they're on, but man, when it's not going their way, especially shooting, it can just be really bad. And we saw that earlier this season with Texas and Nebraska. It's just I don't know if it's an outlier anymore about just having those nights. There's been a couple of times now where they've gone for like 2 of 10 from 3.
Yeah, I mean, I get with what you and Mike are saying. I just felt today was different. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it just seemed like UConn dictated a lot of our shot quality and shot proficiency.
Yeah, I agree. You could tell just the way Sonogo was playing. I think this was his best game all year. you can really tell he wanted this game. But I mean, even then, we still out rebounded them. I mean, your defense can take you so far, but at some point to win these big conference road games, you got to make some shots. And after they took that lead, almost midway through the second, they only made 3 baskets after that, and you can't have that.
Well, no doubt we missed some easy ones. Arthur had a couple. Nimhard had one. Kalk had one that were 3-foot baskets. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't just us jacking up threes. Like at the end of the game there, that wide open look Baylor had. I mean, he's got to make that. When Kaluma got that steal, God, he was wide open. I mean, he's got to make that shot.
Yeah, there was one play in the first half. Arthur was going in, and he could have just dunked it, but instead he went for like a fading layup and he missed it. Like it's just I don't know. They don't like to play through contact sometimes.
I don't know why Arthur's kind of shied away from dunking the basketball when that was kind of his bread and butter for a long time. But hey, you can't bitch about Arthur tonight, man. He was a stud out there.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, 2 more questions. UConn really neutralized Creighton tonight, and I know the fouls kind of threw them off, especially in the first half. But they found a way to not make them a non-impact today.
Yeah, I thought though that Kalk kind of tried to go with that spin left-hander. That's not a shot he takes a lot of times on his first, like an air ball. Like I thought that right-handed hook was there sometimes. I thought he got okay position for the most part. Yeah, I thought his job on the boards. He blocked. What do you have? 4 blocks today. So that was like, certainly, something that was going to contribute to a victory if Creighton could have shot the ball better. But I mean, like I said to start off the show, there was no doubt who the best player in this league is and who the best center in this league is. It's not even close.
Yeah, that was just really surprising. Like it was like dominated by Sonoma. I thought it'd be closer, but yeah, obviously everybody saw who's the best player in center. And then my last question: how concerned are you with our resume right now? I know we're 9-7, but it's kind of weird because you have those losses at Kalkbrenner. Are you concerned right now, or like do we need to win the rest of our home games, or do we have a little leeway with the injuries?
Great question. I don't know. I wouldn't say. I mean, when you get to 9-7, I just kind of looked at these 3 games here, and I said we got to win 2 of the 3. And I think we'll win at home against Providence. I thought maybe we'd lose this one, so the game Wednesday is like really, really, really big. I think that's a huge game for us. If you can just get one of these, because then, we have that, like I said, this 3-game schedule. Then the schedule softens up a little bit. We have Butler and St. John's after that. A home game with Xavier, and then at Georgetown, and then a home game with Villanova, and then Seton Hall. So we've got a stretch there after those 3 of 6 games that are all very, very winnable. So
yeah, for sure.
So that would be, let's just say we even split these 2. It'd be 10-8, and then we get 6. So that's 16-8. Now all of a sudden we're 16-8, and we got UConn coming into our place. So now, now we got a shot, at getting right, and you got to look at the back end too. Our last 2 games are Georgetown and DePaul. So, we can stack up some more wins. I don't, I'm not concerned yet because there's just so much basketball left to play, and you don't know how everything's going to shake out. I would say this, that there's a lot of depth this year on the bubble so far. So, but when you compare Creighton's resume to others, they kind of stand out. Jerry, do you have a comment?
I was just talking back and forth with Zach, I guess. So about being at HC trying to make a deep run. That's obviously hard to do, but look what North Carolina did last year. So yeah. But I think it's probably too early to talk about, where we're seated. I mean, but I think right now, like Tim said, the big thing is to try to go win at Xavier Wednesday. It's going to be tough. And what I think is going to be different, Xavier's a much different team than UConn. For say, like at the 5, UConn's going to try to pound you down low. Whether Xavier's got, Nunji and stuff like that, their 5 guys going to be out at the top of the key trying to shoot 3. So it's going to be definitely a different game plan defensively on Wednesday night versus what we had today.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hey, Easton,
Yeah.
thanks a lot.
Oh,
we gotta,
one
we
more
gotta get
thing.
that. I'm sorry, we got to get to Coach's Corner. I
Oh,
apologize.
that's fine. That's okay.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jerry. All right, joining us now is Casey Matthews. Hey, man, how you doing?
Tim, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you great. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Game plan going into the game today, Case.
Say
What was
that
it?
one more time?
What was the
Game
game plan going in today?
I think, to match their physicality, keep them, win the rebounding battle was a big one for us. And, try to keep Hawkins and go and check the best we can. I mean, those are 2 of the best players in the Big East, but, if you can limit their production, they'll have a chance. And so we executed some of the things that we wanted to do, but, it's the Big East, man. There's really good players in that team. And, they got it going. So credit to them.
Well, I thought, obviously, most people thought rebounding was a key, and obviously rebounding was a strength for us today.
Yeah, I mean, it's not much we can say other than Arthur Kaluma was an absolute monster. I mean, 16 rebounds. I mean, Arthur was active. One of the things with their team is Andre Jackson. He doesn't necessarily score a lot, but he's so active and he's so productive, and he's the key to their teams because he's not a great shooter. So you can kind of clog up the lane on him, but he does other things to help his team win. And I felt like that was Arthur's mentality today, and it's been his mentality really the last couple of games. Is how can I help our team win rather than what do I need to do to be good? Is what do I need to do to help the team be good? And I think his approach today really kept us in that game where they were starting to pull away a little bit. He made some plays. So a lot of the credit goes to him for that rebounding stuff. But if he's getting the rebounds, other guys are having to box out and keep their men off the boards too. So a team effort all the way around. We're proud of that. To beat a UConn team by 15 rebounds. I mean that's an achievement. Obviously, it's not all we're trying to do. Trying to score more points than them too. But,
Right.
You got to take some confidence to that too.
Yeah, I mean, I thought as the game played out, obviously, it was easy to see that was a pretty good favorable matchup with him and Caravan. Did you guys feel that way going in?
Sure. I mean, we weren't really 100% sure on how they'd match up with us in terms of personnel, but I mean, I think Caravan's a good player. I don't want to try to take anything away from him. He's a really good player, but Arthur's a special level of athlete and player, and when he's in the right mindset, I like our chances in any match.
Casey, we still have you? You're kind of going through a bad area there. We'll see if that gets a little better here as we go along. I thought Arthur, Jerry, I don't know what you thought about that. I thought Arthur did a great job with Caravan tonight. I mean, he smelled blood early and was really able to take him off the dribble.
Yeah, he only had 2 points, I thought I saw. Yeah. So, Arthur had a great game. I was interested, when did Creighton – it looks like they started out with Ryan on Hawkins, and then they moved to put Trey on him, obviously, to have force Hawkins to shoot over more length. When did they make that switch, and was that to try to put more length on Hawkins, or was it to try to protect Ryan from getting in deeper foul trouble?
I thought there's so much switching going on, that's hard to tell a lot of times. Like Mac always says when they talk about matchups, unless you're in the post, it's generally kind of tough to talk about the matchups going on. But I thought for a good chunk, Trey was on Hawkins. I think probably why we started out that way was, as you could see, he's very quick coming off those screens.
Yes.
And I think Ryan's maybe just a little bit quicker coming off the screen than Trey is. Now, Trey creates more difficulty for him when he's just out in the open floor as far as the length goes.
Right.
So I thought that matchup, yeah, I know, I mean, the two things you think when you just like run the game back in your mind here is, by the way, coach has dropped off. So we'll just see. He's probably going through a bad area.
They're on the bus, I think.
Yeah, he knew that. He told me that earlier that they were going to, it could be difficult because he's going on the bus. The two things that run through your mind was Sanogo kind of having his way with Kalkbrenner, number one, and number two was Hawkins hitting, the proficiency, the way he can score the basketball. Now, that being said, I think if, you're going to, just as Casey said, if you're before the game starts, you're going to say, hey, we're going to hold UConn under 70 and we're going to out rebound him by 15. You're probably going to take that. I think every team in the country would take that.
Yep.
So I thought it was a pretty good job by us of doing that. We're going to try and reconnect here with Casey in a minute. We'll see if he's Coach Matthews is still with us. Hey, Coach, you still there?
Yeah, trying out the bus Wi-Fi now. See if that's any better.
Oh yeah, no worries. I know it's a difficult situation. We appreciate you joining us. It's kind of you're in the depth of a tough schedule right now. I mean, you go on the road, play UConn. Now it doesn't get any easier. You got to flip right around and play Xavier. So, what's the mindset of the team right now?
I mean, obviously we're just lost. We're, disappointed in that, but at the same time, I think it's more about, like, I think I might have said this before, is when you can leave a game feeling like you played up to a certain standard. Well, maybe not as good as we wanted to play. Obviously, we missed some shots that we normally would hit, but I think you can take confidence from that. And so, I think that's where we're at. Is like, yeah, we lost, and they were a better team today, but we feel encouraged by some of the things that we saw out there. And we feel that if we can take that same level of effort and attention to detail, that we can kind of apply that into different, whether it be scouting or scheme, that we'll be fine. I mean, obviously, that's a really hard place to play, a really good team, and then we're, Wednesday we're playing another really good team and another really hard place to play, and so it's just a matter of, like, understanding that this is why you come to the Big East, is because you want to play these games, you want to play in these environments. Like, if I told our guys we're going to go play a really bad team in a really bad environment on Wednesday, I can promise you they wouldn't be as excited as they are to go in Wednesday and play a really good team and a really good team. So, yeah. They're excited to continue on the journey. I mean, we're making steps. We're making steps and kind of getting healthy, getting into a little bit of a groove, and so we're looking forward to kind of seeing how this plays out.
After seeing the game play out, let's say you were playing UConn in a week or two. Okay, I know we're not playing until down the road a ways, but would you maybe consider going a little more with some doubles down low?
I kind of would have to watch it back. I mean, I think we tried a little bit big, when Sanogo got the ball, but it's hard for me to say that because at the end of the day, like, Ryan Kalkbrenner is the reigning defensive player in the year in the Big East, and he's a really good defender. I understand Sanogo, his production was really good tonight, but you start doubling and then you start getting into rotations and things like that, and that's what we kind of don't want to do. So you always have to be ready with an adjustment. I'm not saying that it's not something that we would consider doing, but at the same time, I think before you make a decision like that, it's going to be, watch the tape and see if you feel like any of his production was really due to just mistakes that we were making, without doubling. I mean, there are a couple of times where, it's really hard. So Nova's really good at shot fakes and getting you up in the air. He did that a few times.
Yeah.
Got. So there's a couple of things that we can clean up, but at the end of the day, like, Sanogo's a great player, and I think when a great player has a great game, you don't want to overreact. And our game plan is what it is, and we're gonna I think we're gonna do what we do. And I'm not saying that won't be something we go to if he really gets cooking again, but as of right now, I wouldn't say that's something we do. Like just to say
Okay.
next week.
Fair enough. We've had some people comment already about the shooting, the last 10 minutes, and this is not maybe as great a shooting team as people think. To me, it felt different. To me, I looked at it more as just UConn being real. I mean, they're one of the top teams in the country defending the three, which I was really proud that, you look at the stats, we didn't throw up 33s. Okay. We knew that coming in, and we took advantage of that. Even in the first half when we were down, we were getting the ball inside. We were running our stuff. Arthur was able to get inside. What did you think of like the shot selection the last 10 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, one, you got to give credit to UConn for the way they defend. And one of their keys, you could hear, Hurley the whole game was telling his team, make them take tough twos, no threes, make them take tough twos. Like that's what they wanted to do. And so, what do I think? I mean, I think that, I think if you're going to be Creighton basketball and you're going to have to let it fly in your chest, and you got to let it fly, and you got to be who you are. When we had open shots, we took them. And I'll tell you, Baylor Shira missed a couple of threes tonight that I would give him the ball in the same exact scenario 100 times over and trust that he's going to make it. Same with Trey, same with our two. I know that it's easy to watch the TV and watch the games at home and then think that, and this is not set to sound, just think that what we should do. I get it. But I'm at practice, our staff's at practice every day. And these dudes work their tails off and they hit these shots. And, it wasn't that long ago where Trey hit, was it 6-7 threes in the game? And, our 3-point shooting percentage was fantastic. So we're going to keep doing what we do. I don't feel like we took a lot of bad shots. Again, maybe I'll watch it back and say, no, you were wrong. But I just live, I think we took kind of what was available to us there.
Okay. I'm sorry. I probably didn't word that very well. I think you misunderstood. I wasn't saying that we need to take more or shouldn't take more threes or anything like that. I was saying the opposite, actually, that I was proud of the way we didn't automatically fall into the trap of taking three, to try and get back in the game. We took it inside. In fact, it was kind of a key point in the game where we made our run right out of the end of the start of the second half. They kind of started falling into a trap they fell into before, getting in love with the three.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, I mean, it's sometimes it's easy when teams are defending the 3-point line like that you take everyone that you see that you have even an inch of room because, oh my goodness, I have a chance to shoot a three. And so you're right. I don't think we fell into a trap there. You just got to hit them. You hit two more of those. This is a totally different deal.
No,
and
on the
just
subject of 3-point shooting, this is a team that's shooting 36% from three. That's a solid percentage from three. So of course everybody's going to have poor shooting games. Not everyone is Mitch Ballack. So you're going to have some poor shooting nights, but that's a 6% improvement over last year's 3-point shooting. So it's very, very easy when things are going poorly to say, we should do less of that's going poorly and more of this. But when it's going positively, everybody shuts up.
Yeah.
So recency bias.
For sure. And I think you have to be, in our positions, we love the fact that we have the level of support and engagement that we do from our fans, and that they really buy into the let it fly mantra, and they it's exciting. So I'm not in any way saying hey, you don't know what you're talking about. I completely get it. I'm not a football coach, but I can promise you when I watch the Miami Dolphins and my team, I know exactly what we should be calling and exactly what we should be doing on the football field. So, I totally get it. And like I said, we appreciate the love, we appreciate the support. I think in these kind of scenarios, it's just important to remember that you got to do what you do. And we recruit guys that can shoot, guys that are wanting to play fast, and there's going to be nights where you don't hit them, and you just got to be able to be tough and rebound like we did tonight to give yourself a chance. And we were in that game. That was not a blowout. That was a great UConn team coming off 2 losses. Like, and we were right there with them. So I'm proud of our guys.
Hey, last question. It's tough for you to answer because this is more of a general global question. Because I've watched UConn plenty this year. You know, teams have been okay to leave Sanogo out open out there. He's starting to knock down a fair percentage of those threes. Is that something like you think you will see a change? Not only with your team, but other teams who play them now. They're going to have to come out maybe and guard him because let's face it, he's probably not going to take a ton of guys off the dribble from out there.
Yeah, no, I mean, you have to respect it, but at the same time, if Sanogo shooting threes, then he's not in the post shooting layups. So, you know, I like our chances a little bit better. Now, I think it's one of those things where I gotta let him shoot 1 or 2 of them and make them before you really start getting out there. Because guys have good on heaters and have good nights, but for the most part, I mean, again, if he's shooting threes, that means Hawkins isn't shooting them. You know, some of those other guys are shooting them. So I think you gotta take your chances there.
Yeah, no, I get it. Again, I'm just curious to see going forward. I want to watch them now and see if teams like change their strategy a little bit because, you know, obviously those threes are worth more than twos.
I know that all too well.
Coach, thanks so much. I know you're on the way to the airport. Safe travels.
Yeah.
Let's get ready for Wednesday. Big game Wednesday.
Yeah. Hey, and with all the recent stuff with the Hamlin from the Bills and trainers, I want to give a quick shout out to our man Ben McNair. Can't hear you right
Ben's
now.
the best. Ben, you're the best, buddy.
We got the best trainer with us, so we're lucky to.
Absolutely, and even a better person. So that's
he is. So,
thanks, Casey.
Thanks,
hey, good luck. Good luck tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm not too hopeful on this one, but we'll see.
No.
Well, I shouldn't say I'm hopeful.
You gotta have the Bills win too, right?
Yeah, Bills got to win. Dolphins got to win.
Yeah. So you got the double whammy going.
Not holding my breath, but we'll see.
Well, the Jets are tanking right now, so you got that going for you.
Hope so.
Joe
All right, bud. Thanks, man.
Thanks,
yeah, appreciate it, Coach.
Yeah.
That's a tough deal when you gotta like hope for the other team to lose too.
Joe Flacco versus Skylar Thompson. Does it get any better than that for NFL football? My God.
You know what though? I'll tell you what though. So my Vikings played them earlier in the year, and that was when Tua was out, and so Teddy got hurt, and very early on, Skylar came in, and I want to tell you, he played pretty well. I would take him over Flacco any day of the week.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. I mean, there's a lot on the line for the Dolphins. Be interesting. It's always interesting to see how those young guys react. I mean, there's going to be a lot of pressure. So,
yeah, and it's always tough when you got to have like. Although the Bills are playing for something, so that's
yeah.
Although I don't, you know, I'm sorry. Can I just veer off the bus since we lost a game here? I don't understand what the NFL is doing, saying we're going to have 8 teams in the playoff. We're going to have a coin flip. What is all that? That's bull. Just go, like Zach Taylor says, just go by the records.
Yep.
Yeah, we could have, to his point, they could have had the number 1 overall seed if they won that game.
Yeah.
Okay. But it didn't work out that way. Okay. Something happened. Something way bigger than football happened.
Yep.
Okay. That's just the way it is. I would like somebody to shout out the NFL. What about the Big East last year? Providence got to miss all those games and won the league by default just because, they skipped some of the tougher games they had to play. Well, it's just the way it worked out. So,
and I just wanted to take a second to say that it is important to kind of reflect on the DeMar Hamlin situation and point out that things are bigger than sports. Patrick McCaffrey taking a step back from basketball to focus on his mental health. I think that's another important story. It's important, it's tough to think about sports after your team loses, but there's a lot more important things out there than sports that we should be thinking about. I just wanted to take a second to say that because we didn't talk about it on the last show. I think it was right after that stuff happened, but there's a lot bigger things than sports.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. There are. Except when your team loses and,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I hope people don't take this the wrong way, but Patrick McCaffrey taking time out for a mental health issue. I mean, I guess he has to go outside the family to get that help, if you know what I mean.
I thought he was playing the other night against Indiana. Was I wrong? Did I see? I thought he was out there.
It was immediately after that.
Yeah, I think he was out.
Announced it.
Yeah, he's out after that. But
okay,
I mean, my point being, Dad's probably not a lot of help there.
I could have said his dad's definitely a hothead.
Hey, congrats to Dan Hurley. He really toned it down today.
He kept his composure.
I was shocked.
Really
I was shocked. I expected a tech on one of those block calls early.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we talked about this last game, but Jeff Goodman said, in a recent podcast that, the referees that he's talked to have had it with him. They're just done. They're just done with him, and that he's going to get more technicals because it's not going to take much for him to get a technical. But today he really backed it off. I thought Mac was closer to getting a technical than he was, but which leads us to worst call of the game. There were so many. I thought the Kalkbrenner foul late in the second half was terrible. He didn't even touch. He didn't even get him with the body.
No, he went straight up. The guy just threw up a wild shot. I also think
a couple of those Hawkins fouls when he was too.
The very first one.
Yeah. Oh,
the very first one was a phantom call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you notice Hawkins, when he goes up for a three, if there's anybody close to his arm, he kind of twists his arm like he got hit on and throws a shot up and looking to draw. It's like a flop, but
he's flailing away. He's kicking his legs out too.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you saw Arthur Kaluma on that play when he was driving to the hoop, and Klingon stuck his foot out on purpose and
tripped him.
Yeah.
Yep. And driving from the corner.
I mean, that was purposefully done. Yeah. That wasn't just an accident.
That's a Grayson Allen play.
Yeah. Good call.
Yeah. I mean, that was, the other one, I know people on BlueJayBanner.com were complaining about. That was the right call. The guy,
the second one on
underneath
Hawkins.
the basket, ran out and made the call because the guy standing right there missed it. I mean, he was Kaluma just grabbed his arm. I don't know why he grabbed his arm. It was a tough three. But there was a lot of bad calls. Not all of them, against Creighton, which is going to morph me into my little speech about Donnie Marshall. I don't. There's nothing that drives me nuts more. And I'm not going to name any names, but I think you can maybe figure out who I'm talking about. Guys in Omaha who maybe do a soccer game here and there, or maybe don't even do play-by-play here and there. And they immediately jump on, their famous beating person in football is Beth, what's her name? Beth McGowan's. They jump on, just you name it, they jump on him. God, this is the worst announcer ever. First of all, congratulations. You're unless you got a contract from Fox or ESPN, you're not on TV. So obviously you are not as good at that job as she or he is. So stop with it. Okay. You're in Omaha stuck doing high school basketball, okay, on the radio. All right. So stop with complaining about that. And I'm that way too, because look, we've been doing this for 15 years. It's not as easy as you think. Okay. You got, stuff you got to look for. You got emails you got to get. You got people texting you. You got stuff going on.
I can attest to that as well. My first year doing
there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things going on. It's not as easy to even we did radio for 14 years with the podcast. I thought, how tough is that going to be? The difference is going to be the camera. Oh my God, it's so totally different. Like you just had a lot of different things to do, and I'm still adjusting to it. So I hate to even comment on people. I will watch a game and go, yeah, that guy's not very good, but I won't say anything. Okay. The one guy I gotta say, there's probably two or three, but the one guy, Donnie Marshall, I've never gotten him. Like, I don't get why he's on Fox doing games.
My biggest issue with him is he takes issue with certain things in officiating, but he's always on the wrong side of it.
Yes.
There will be a very obvious foul call and be like, yeah, I don't know about that one, and then a guy will just get hacked, and it'll get a call, and it will still be like, yeah, I don't know about that one. So it's either way. Like, yeah, I don't know. He'll defend some poorly called fouls, but then he'll be against some very good called fouls.
Right.
I don't
like.
There's no
Like,
consistency.
I don't know what the hell he was talking about when he said, "Oh, Sonogo just took the chair out."
Yeah.
No, he tackled him.
He had an arm wrapped around him.
I don't get that. Like, and he never brings anything to the table. Like he says the most. He says things I could do without doing any research on the game. You know, when a person does that, not once, but I mean, when they do that consistently through the whole game, I'm like, they're not very good. That's my point. If the average fan sitting down watching the game could make the same comment without doing any, prep, then that's not a good comment. Okay.
Yeah.
And he's bad, and he's really bad with UConn. Why they have him doing 3 UConn games in a row, I have no idea. And he talked, if you didn't know who Donnie Marshall was, you would think he was the greatest player of all time. Okay. And here's go off on this. A lot of people hate Bill Walton. I just think the whole thing is hilarious.
It's awesome.
I love it. I like watching it. Is Bill Walton being stupid on purpose a lot of times? Yeah, he is. But you know what? Bill Walton is one of the greatest college basketball players of all time. Okay? Bill Walton can say whatever he wants.
If you want to hear an amazing Bill Walton clip, look up him talking about Washington's rowing team. Because there's some things that I will not say here that he said that are signs on like this Washington where they practice rowing. They put some signs up, and him just saying them just with so much gravitas and just the things that he says. It's theatrical. He went on some tangent about flying on quasars. It's amazing. I love it. I love
him
it.
and Posh doing a game together is just pure gold.
He's trying to reel him in. I remember there was one where he was like hanging out in like a smoke lodge or like a teepee or something one time.
Yes, he's very into the Native American ways of life and what they do, and he really gets into that. Yeah, and he really gets into like he's down in Arizona. He loves going out in the desert and doing different things there. He loves being in the upper Northwest, where it's either Oregon or Washington, doing things on the ocean, kayaking, all these types of things. Yep. He's really into that stuff.
I want to go to Burning Man with him.
Yes. Well, and he's such a genuine guy, though, that people don't realize it. Like, he was here at a Creighton event one time. Okay, I don't know if this story is really circulated that widely. When Red was still living, okay. And am I missing the name here? Who's a great legendary coach at Creighton?
Red Auerbach?
No.
Oh,
Jerry, Jerry, you should know.
Yeah, Red. Was it Shandy's? Was it? What was it?
No, that was the St. Louis Cardinal manager.
Yeah, that's right. No, I remember. Yeah, he used to come to the Creighton baseball games. Really, older guy.
You know who I'm talking about,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Legendary coach. Okay. Well, back in the day, Creighton and UCLA played one another back when Wooden was coaching, and Wooden was always a big fan of this coach and thought he did things the right way and so on and so forth. So Walton was here. He was talking to him, and he goes, "I'm going to dial up Coach right now." So he dials up John Wooden, and he says, "Hey, you'll never believe who I'm standing with," and hands the phone over to him. I mean, it's just a cool thing for him to do, and
as a Portland Trailblazers fan, I love Bill Walton.
I want to tell you something, though. Walton was a better college player than he was a pro player.
Yeah, once he shaved the beard.
Yeah, he was.
And John wouldn't let him back on the team.
He was crazy good in college. Yeah. I mean, he was just. It was kind of like Sonogo against Kalk today. He was that way against everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, Red
Well,
McManus. Red McManus.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
look it up, yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Blake, in the chat for Red McManus. Was Red Auerbach the Celtics?
yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Smoked a cigar all
Yep.
the time, right?
Michael Chiklis just played him in Winning Time, I believe.
Winning time.
Yep.
That was a pretty good representation of Red Auerbach, by the way.
Yeah.
Just having known,
Oh, yeah.
having grown up with him being the coach of my hated team. So
Yeah. Blake in the chat. I appreciate
thanks,
the
Blake.
correction.
Appreciate it. I could have looked it up, but I was too lazy. Anyway, Red Shindy. So good call, Jerry.
It's going back, yeah.
That was going back. I think he was manager of the '64 World Series when they.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it was Musial days, but I think it was past Musial days.
Yeah.
There were Mike Shannon, Del Maxville, Bill White, Kurt Flood. That team. Yeah. That shows how crappy baseball is, people. I can remember guys from the '64 team in the other league that I cheered for. That's because everybody stayed with their teams and you knew who the hell the players were.
That's right.
As a Cubs fan, I'm
wanna
glad.
go?
I'm glad.
You want
that
me to
they're-
go?
No,
You want me to go?
I'm just glad they're
You want me to go
baseball.
Meyer in the Cubs? Let me go Meyer in the Cubs.
All I'm
Ron
saying is,
Sano at third, Kessinger short, Beckert second, Ernie Banks at first. You had Billy Williams in the outfield. Huntley was their catcher. Ferguson Jenkins was their pitcher. There you go. Boom.
I'm just glad their team didn't exist before 2016.
That was an unbelievable Cubs team they had, and they couldn't sniff playoffs. They had like about 6 Hall of Famers on it. They couldn't sniff the playoffs.
That sounds like the Cubs.
Of course, that in those days there was no playoffs. There was you won the pennant, and then you went
Division,
to
right? You won division,
Yeah.
you didn't get in, right?
All right, so enough bus off the road. We'll turn the bus back on the road. Zach, do you have stats in front of you?
I can pull them up. I know some of them off the top of my head. Arthur Kaluma, 15 points, 16 rebounds, 6 offensive rebounds.
How badly overall did we beat them on the offensive glass?
Offensive glass. Total offensive rebounds, we had 20. 20
How many
offensive
they have?
rebounds, and they had 9.
Wow.
We out
That's an
rebounded them by
incredible stat.
15.
Right. The games I've watched UConn play this year, they've just dominated the boards in the teams they played. I mean, that was probably the most impressive stat of the day is how Creighton won especially the offensive boards. I've never seen, every game I've seen UConn play, they've really kind of won the glass. So that was an impressive stat for Creighton.
Trey had the second most offensive rebounds. He had 2. And then a lot of guys had 1.
Oh boy. I just got a text from someone who happened to jump in their car and listen to a little bit of the post game. Our old stomping grounds, the post game on the radio, and they said those guys' solution was to either bench Baylor or Ryan Nimhard.
That is ridiculous. For who?
Oh
For
my
who?
word!
Who are you benching them for? That's the bigger question. Who are you benching them for? You can say those things, but who are you benching them for?
Well, Zach, to your point, the guy on our message board that wants Arthur Kaluma on the bench, like that's my point. Like, so you're going to go with Mason Miller for 30 minutes a game? I mean,
it's not feasible and it's not reasonable. Arthur Kaluma, he has a bit of an identity crisis offensively, where there's some things he wants to do that he's not capable of yet, but when he does the things he can do, he's extremely efficient. The issue is getting him to do those things all the time. I think he was 5 for 16 tonight, and a lot of those were just missed layups that he should have hit.
If I had Arthur Kaluma for 2 days, here's what I would say. Here's one. I want him to do one thing and work on one thing. When he gets that ball out on the 3-point line and fakes, okay, and then drives to the hole.
Dunk it.
Stop 10 feet from the basket, pull up and hit a jumper.
Which
and
he
just
is super
keep
capable
working
of.
on that shot over and over and over again. If he had that shot, okay, and had that move, his whole game would open up because people wouldn't want him to drive, so they play off him a little more. Even at that point, the guys would kind of hedge a little bit toward him doing that 10-footer, and then he could blow by him and lay it in. I'm just saying that would open up his whole game.
Nobody works in those shots anymore, Tim. I mean,
I
go and
get
I
it,
watch
but
high school basketball, and these guys are either shooting layups or they're standing at the 3-point line jacking up threes. Nobody's
I get
ever
that.
working on a 10-foot jumper.
It's sabermetrics.
I get
And
that.
again, I'm
but
old
him,
school, but yeah.
But him, he does tend to take that shot sometimes.
He takes it when he's fading away in the post.
Yeah. He takes that area of shot. So I'm just saying, just do it just a little differently.
Yeah.
Don't get started with me with sabermetrics, okay?
I'm not advocating for them at all. I hate it. But I think if him and Trey just went off to the side and exchanged some things, Arthur and Trey work on mid-range shots together, and then Trey works on, a more active pump fake, and he can get more of those shots, and then they're both hitting those shots, and then that leaves both of them more open for three.
I thought Trey's mid-range game was coming around here the last couple games. It wasn't there today, but I thought it was.
No, he was 3 of 14 from the field.
Well, no, I'm just saying. I know it wasn't today. I'm just saying I thought it was coming around.
I still think it is. I mean, no one shot well today.
No.
Yeah. What was Kalk's line?
He was 3 for 6. 9 points, 4 rebounds, 4 blocks. 3 of 3 from the free throw line.
He's got to have more than 4 rebounds. I'm sorry.
Yes, agreed.
That turns it from domination to total domination by Snuggle when he only had 4 rebounds.
But when you look at
that's bad.
Kaluma having 16 and Baylor having 9, I mean those guys crash hard.
But Baylor gets 9 every night, so that's not anything big. But Kaluma's rebounds were just him being active, and a couple times he just took the ball away from guys. Yeah. Kalkbrenner has to be that active as well. Yeah. Like at the end of the game, when UConn went through that stretch where they had like 3 or 4 possessions in a row.
When Andre Jackson just
had the guy boxed out, and he didn't go and get the ball.
Right.
Yep. Yeah.
It was seeming like Kalk was more interested in just blocking his guy out and taking out of the rebound picture than actually going for the rebound after he boxed out. I remember one time he just, boxed out of bounds and just kind of stood there like, well, my job is just to keep him off the board and let the other guys go get the ball. Right. So I don't know if that was the strategy or what. But.
That entire game was decided on 3-point shooting. So Creighton was 20 of 61 from the field. UConn was 21 of 60 from the field. Free throw line, Creighton was 18 of 23. UConn was 19 of 23. And then
wait. We were 18 of 23.
Yep. From the
we made a big run late then because early on we were not shooting it very well.
Yep. Trey finished 5 for 6. Nemhard 4 for 5. Baylor 2 for 2. Kalk 3 for 3, and then Arthur Kaluma. He finished off 4 for 7 after starting off like 1 for 4.
Yeah. Okay. What was
one thing I noticed on free throw shooting is Santiago.
Hold on one sec, Jerry. Zach, what was the 3-point difference?
The 3-point difference, they made 6 more threes.
What did they shoot from 3 though overall?
8 for 24.
God, it seemed like they were better than that.
So they took 8 more and made 6 more. It was all the bench guys. The bench went 0 for 5. For them.
Yeah, Mr. California did not play very well tonight for them.
No. He only got 3 shots up. He did have 2 steals.
And turnover, what were the turnover edge?
Turnover numbers, it was 13 to 5. Yep, 13 to 5.
That's the one area. It was turnovers and rebounding and turnovers. So turnovers gave them 8 more possessions.
Right.
This is even crazier.
That's 8 points, and we lost by 9.
Creighton had 5 assists to UConn's 8.
Right.
That is no
5 assists. Yeah, that's very un-Creighton-like. 5 assists.
Yeah, and we started out moving the ball well. Then we went into one-on-one for a while. Yeah. Then we came out second half, moved the ball around. Then we went back to one-on-one. And those 3 possessions, 2 of which Ryan Nemhard dribbled the ball off his knee, were just I could not believe it. I've never seen him do that. So I got to think, if you just sum it up in a couple sentence, today. I think the atmosphere, the crowd, the team got to us a little bit. Sunogo dominated.
They're a long, athletic team.
And we turned the ball over too many times.
Yep.
Even though 13 isn't crazy. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
just seemed like those turnovers came at bad times.
But in a close game with an 8 turnover differential, that's what's going to kill you. Like you
right,
don't
Jerry, I'm
turn
sorry,
the ball
Jerry.
over. Sorry.
Jerry, you had something to say. I'm sorry.
Well, I was one stat that surprised me was Sinago's shooting 75% from the free throw line this year. That's pretty impressive for a big guy.
Yeah.
You
In
shoot
fact,
the ball well,
he's shooting better than Baylor Shireman from the free throw line. I mean, that's just astonishing stat. So,
that's why I brought that up to Casey, because I'm just saying, I think you're playing him wrong. I mean, I know Kalk that's kind of their strategy. They want Kalk to be that free safety back there.
right.
But I think with Sunogo, I think you've got to come out a little bit on him.
You have to
He's
make
not
him
gonna
second
drive
guess
by.
it. You have to
No.
make him second guess that shot, because as soon as he has time, he sets his feet, it's good.
Right.
The ones that he
Right.
missed were ones he had to get up quick. So if you get out on him, make him think twice about it and then drop back off maybe
Yes.
just a little bit.
Exactly.
Like exactly how Baylor played Andre Jackson, right?
Yes.
He'd give him that look a little bit, then he'd close out a little bit, make him second guess it, and he'd end up passing the ball away.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I think, to me, and I'm sorry, Casey, you got to come with double there. He's killing us.
Yeah.
You're going to have to come with double. It's not like Creighton hasn't ever doubled before. They've done a ton to guys over the years.
Yeah.
You just can't double off Hawkins. That's the guy.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to
Yeah.
double off of Jackson and
Yep.
hope he doesn't do much.
Right. Well, when I've seen UConn play in the past, Jackson's kind of been in the corner or 3-point line. This time I saw him bring Jackson inside, kind of opposite of where Sanogo was. And I think Shireman was looking at the bench like, do I go double or do I stay here? Because if you go double, then you're susceptible to Sanogo dumping off the ball to Jackson for an easy putback,
Yep.
so they're going to have to figure out next time they play him when we're going to have to give Kalk help sometime somewhere. We just can't let Sanogo go one-on-one, so it'll be interesting what they come up with a game plan. I know Mac doesn't like to double down, but man, we just got killed down low today.
Yeah. And the other thing, you're talking about the next time we play him. Well, that's quite a ways down the road.
Yeah.
And, gosh, I hate to say this, knock on wood for everybody, but injuries happen.
Yeah.
You don't know what their team's going to look like a month from now or a month after.
Right.
You don't, look what Creighton's team looked like less than a month ago. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing I thought was the key to this game was it was 6-1 fouls. They were 6 very early in that second half, and we didn't take advantage of that.
Yep, we didn't get
Not
into
get
the
ball in the paint
we didn't
and-
get into
and
the
get-
1-and-1 until there was 4.5 minutes left after getting them at
Exactly.
6 fouls at like 12 minutes.
Exactly. That was 8 minutes where I thought we
Yep.
could have really hung in there when that game was like a 2-3 point game.
Especially when they were attacking hard, those first few possessions just going right at the rim.
Boy, try and figure out Illinois, huh? Beat Wisconsin by 10.
Wow.
All right.
And one of their players quit. Their stud 5-star freshman left the team. I don't know if you saw
Huh.
that.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. Their point guard.
Well, they just got smoked by Northwestern for crying
Oh
out loud.
yeah. And Underwood, he can get on. I mean, he can kind of be a jerk sometimes. He gets on those
Well,
guys. So.
He made a press conference. What did he say? We're just stupid and making horrible plays, and that's all it is. It's nothing else.
Yeah.
I mean, I like guys that are honest like that. But,
Right.
Okay. So
Show on Monday?
unsung hero today.
Mm.
I'd
Trying
say
to think
Baylor.
of-
I'd say Baylor.
Yeah.
I mean-
he usually gets hero, but yeah.
I guess Sharif, honestly, Sharif didn't.
Sharif turned it over.
He turned it
He
over a
turned-
He had
lot.
some
turned it
bad
over.
turnovers
Yeah,
first
at
half.
the end of the
Bad
first
turnovers.
half. He did hit the first 3 of the game, which I have to give him credit for. His shot has looked better the past few games.
Yes, but
he just
those
kind of has to put
turnovers
it.
were
Yeah,
just
it's a
bad.
matter
And
of
then
putting
his-
it all together.
Then we put him in there late on defense, and he didn't particularly make a very good defensive play. So
And, speaking of Vince, I thought Francisco looked over. He looked rattled out there for a senior. I mean,
that's been going on now. I
He
don't.
looked rattled.
I don't think he should be the first guy off the bench anymore. I'm sorry. We got to do something different there. If we want to bring Mason off the bench first, I'm okay with that, even though he hasn't played the greatest lately. But and move like Kaluma to a 3 on defense, guard their 3 on defense, have Mason guard the 4 on defense.
I would
And
love
like
to
in a game
hear.
like today, I think that would be just fine because I think that would have a Caravan against Mason would have been a fine matchup. And you move Kaluma over onto to Jackson, that's fine. He's given us nothing, and he travels every damn game. He gets a traveling call on him. I've kind of soured on him big time, and
I thought he looked rattled out there. That pressure really got to him. It was like he did not want the ball in his hands. He couldn't wait to give it up. He walked. I mean, it did not look good.
I want to hear from someone who's been to practices as to how Ben has looked in practice, because Ben isn't a guy that's going to shy away from those things.
No, but everybody screams for Ben. But then when Ben gets his chance, Ben doesn't play particularly well.
He's just fresh.
He doesn't play bad. He doesn't play bad. He just doesn't play well. So for Ben to get more minutes, he's got to do it when he's in the game. No matter what happens in practice. And
I mean, do you think Miller maybe gets more minutes, Tim, against Xavier? Because Fremantle and Nunge kind of like guys that maybe Mason matches up better against, and
it's not actually a very good matchup for Kalk because
those guys are going to pull him out to the 3-point line. Both Fremantle and Nunge can set and hit threes. You can't just let those guys get wide open looks. So maybe instead of playing
Miller Kaluma.
Do you put Kaluma at the 5 and Mason at the 4 and match up that way? That's, to me, seems like a better matchup against Xavier than.
Well, you got to have Kaluma on the floor, though. You got to look at it both ends of the floor, though. On the other end of the floor, that's a huge mismatch for Xavier. So you kind of got to play it both ways. I would go Kaluma, Kalk Brenner. I would just stay as we are. In some ways, though, it's tougher because they don't really have I don't know. They kind of have a point guard. They kind of don't. You know what I mean? Like,
that Bomb kid. Do you put Trey on Bomb? And
that's what
R2 on Kunkel. I mean, that Bomb's kind of been their leading scorer. And do you? I
think you got to have Trey on Kunkel. Then that way it shuts him down from doing anything from the outside. Right. I don't know. I thought Kaluma and Bomb would be a good matchup actually, but then who do you go against? See, here's what I would do. I would put Kaluma on Bomb and put Baylor on Fremantle.
Yeah, that's true.
Because then you take away Fremantle's 3.
Right.
Now they're going to go ahead and try and post Baylor up then.
Right.
But you could do some different things with that. I'm not so sure. Baylor's so much quicker than him. I think he would be okay as far as positioning.
Baylor's a beefier guy than you would think as well.
Yeah, he's 6'7", and Fremantle's only 6'8". So I think that's right. That's what I would do because to me, Bob and Kaluma are kind of similar players, really.
Yeah.
Except Bob's a much better 3-point shooter. But here's what I would do. I would do whatever UConn did because UConn kind of shut that guy down. Now the guys that killed him were Nunge and Fremantle. They kind of killed UConn, but. Who's the guy that who's the other guy? I want to say Turner, but I don't think that's his name.
No, I know what you're talking about. Let me pull it up here.
He comes off the bench, doesn't he?
Yeah. No, what the hell? I know he had some big rebounds for him.
I'm getting too old. I can't remember all these players.
Hunter.
Yes,
that guy's kind of a 3-4 athletic guy. He does a lot of the dirty work for Xavier.
He caused a lot.
He kind of hurt. He hurt UConn in that game. He really did.
Yes. So. Yes.
I'll tell you what. UConn has had, or not UConn. Sorry, Xavier has had probably the 2 most memorable guys in the conference for me. Since the new Big East began. One of them being having a player named Miles Davis. And then the other one, that just huge lefty, Stone. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh. So are you thinking of the guy that we recruited that didn't come here?
He was a just big lefty.
I know who you're talking about. Kind of awkward, maybe a little bit chubby. But he could score points. He was ugly, but ugly basketball, but he found a way to score points. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
All right, and Alabama beat Kentucky by 26 today. Holy God! You want to talk? Somebody earlier said, "Am I worried about Creighton?" Yeah, it's kind of starting to get close to be worried about Kentucky being in the field, man.
You think would Nate Oates take the Texas job, Tim?
Oh, I don't know.
I mean,
I would not take any Texas job if I was anybody.
Matt Stainbrook. That's what I'm thinking of. Matt Stainbrook.
Yeah,
6'10", 270.
He was terrible.
It was just his build. He's just, yeah.
All right. Yes, and to your point, Zach. Yes, it's about time we have a Monday night show. We gotta start doing something different to break this trend of winning a couple, losing. We got to get on a roll here. So, we definitely have to have a Monday night show. Be a good time to maybe get Flan on here to talk about the women's game, women's team.
When you talk about a bad loss, God, they got beat. Oh, that was
according to Matt DeMaria, this is all because Creighton fans.
Nobody showed up, right?
Creighton fans suck. They embarrassed. Fan base embarrassed himself. Man, did he get lit up on Twitter after you put that on there?
They were like, with UConn women canceling the game because they only got 7 scholarship players. I mean, to me, that's a forfeit, or you drag some girls off the
canceled the game because of that. But did they have some COVID though?
I don't know.
Yeah, they probably threw some COVID in there because it's kind of raging on there's a new variant out that's very super contagious, but it's not very deadly.
Well, yeah.
Okay. So
healthy college kids, I just don't get it. Yeah, don't get me down this.
But anyway,
yep.
All right. Hey, thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for all the comments. Thanks for all the calls. We'll see you Monday night on Blue Jay Banner at 6:00, right here